Hello everyone. Today I received some parts from an eBay seller called So Much Stuff. So let's just open up this box and see what's inside. When I get an order, I always make just a little bit more, just order a couple more extra parts just in case. So I got all this window set for GP35. I need that for later. What else have I got? Oh, extra horns. You never have too many horns, that's for sure. These are for, have a look at my packing slip there. SD24 or SD26. I actually want them for an SD35. I think they are the same, but we'll find out in another video. Couple of AAR trucks, HO scale. These I'm gonna use right away. Let's go get that engine. When I got this C425, it was a mess, but I still wanted to resurrect it and make my video. So I borrowed the side frame from the RS1. So just gonna make a makeshift engine cradle here. And we're gonna switch these out so that I can get my 425 to look awesome. This thing was a real mess when I got it, but I still wanted to make my video. But now it can be back to new, back to real good shape. This other side frame here is a little bit messed up too, so I'm gonna see if I need to switch this out. If it's not glued in, if it's glued in, I'm in big trouble, but if it's not glued in, I'm okay. Almost forgot to remove this little plate. Actually is the plate that holds them in. So if this thing is not glued in, I'll be okay. It's missing the part here, so the engine may still look okay with that on there. I don't think it's glued in. Just a little bit stubborn. And then let's just put the new one in. These engines, I think Cado makes them easy to work on purpose to help people out. And then this one is the RS1 side frame that I use, that's got the friction bearing from the 40s. That was the technology way back when. That's one thing the guys in the cabooses did. They would watch for hot boxes from all those friction bearings. So that's gonna go back to the RS1, and then I can put my new one on. Not that one, that's the old one. And then put the new one on. Make sure my axles are in their bearings. And these, they pretty much line themselves up. So yeah, this thing was an absolute mess when I got it, but now we're good. And I also got some AAR side frames. These I'm going to use on B23-7. I'm gonna pull out my B23-7 so you can see it, because it is a mess. So I got it like that. On the good side, it's got the exhaust, it's got the horn, it's missing the handrails, but I had them before from another I had a set that I bought a couple of years ago for another engine, so I already had this set, so that's cool. It's got the couplers and the snowplow. So I'm missing, what else am I missing? Oh yes, I'm missing the front truck there. But here's the good news. While I was hunting down gearboxes for my GP38 noise reduction video, I found this gearbox. So that's perfect. At least the drive system is complete. At the same time, I'm gonna paint it for Penn Central. It's missing also the sunshades. It's got its brake wheels, but I know I have some somewhere. So I'm gonna go hunt down some sunshades, and we're gonna start taking this apart to paint it. I've got to do two things at once on this. I've got to work out the drive system. I'm gonna make that happen, and I've also got to paint the engine and change all the cosmetic stuff. I think the cosmetic stuff is easy, but the drive system, that's a little bit finicky. Although these are pretty good, and as you can see, it's a DCC compatible frame. So I've got a nice Excel Systems DCC and sound decoder ready to go in this. But first, I'm gonna check it out with DC to make sure everything runs okay. And then when I'm happy with that, then I'll make the conversion to DCC and sound. Since I'm gonna have a lot of small parts flying around, I'm taking the time to get a nice box I can put all my parts. I'm gonna paint this with the couplers off. If the couplers get painted, it makes them less easy to live with. So these are kind of cool. The couplers that come with Atlas, they work well. They come with the pin for the magnetic action, which I did not put it in yet. But these, they work for me. I bought myself though a nice set of Microtrains couplers, and they're brown. That's gonna look especially good on this engine. So these couplers, I'm not throwing them out, I'm keeping them, but I might go ahead and use my my very nice Microtrains one. And then I'm just gonna remove the cab. Removing the cab allows me to remove all the glass. Here's the Microtrains couplers I bought. So the brown's gonna look especially nice with the black engine. I'm gonna paint this for Penn Central 2902. I have another one, 2907. And that's starting to be one of my favorite engines. I put DCC and sound in it, and I'm having a really good time running that. So we're gonna do this one, 2902. Now it's a B23-7. Penn Central did not have B23-7s. They had U30B. So this is gonna get painted as if it was a U30B. Removing these windows requires a little bit of attention. It's not super easy, but if you take your time, it can be done. I think it makes a big difference when you put the engine back together. It's amazing what they do with N scale now. You know, a couple of weeks ago I did the switcher, and it was okay, that switcher, but just the N scale has come a long ways from then. So I'm being careful. I'm putting all my windows in my box so I don't lose anything. because it's going to be a little while before this goes back together. I'm going to put, now that I have the windows out, I'm going to put my sunshades in it. These are not the original sunshades for that engine, but it will work. Now I can just go ahead, put everything back together before painting. While I'm doing that, I'm always being careful not to squish my horn. That would be bad. That happens, you know, to all of us. We get excited and we forget about important stuff. Anyways, the other one that I made, the 23-7, which is, it's a U33B, by the way, not a U30B. So I like to put everything back together before I paint it. So let's get to work on that. So if I can, I will do just one very light coat. And that's how I work it. And I'll build everything up. I'll build it up very slowly. So it looks like one coat is gonna be good. I'm happy with that. The secret is you don't touch it for a couple of days even. This is Tremclad. It's pretty good quality paint. So, but it takes a little bit of time to dry. But it's very rewarding to spend the extra time. That worked out great. So while my paint is drying, I'm gonna work on the drive system. So phase one, we're gonna make it work, fine tune it on DC. And then phase two, we'll convert it to DCC and sound. I put power on it before just to make sure that it was working. And I seem to remember that that was working fine. Oh yeah. That actually looks really good. Yeah, this is the lowest setting on my power pack. And then the other side. It's about the same. Looks really good. Now, since I have everything in my hands, I'm going to take a minute to clean the wheels. Sometimes, you know, they sound real quiet on the bench, but when you take them to on the track, they sound a little bit louder. Now, I don't know if you guys have the road bed on some foam. Me, I'm directly on the plywood, so it transmits quite a bit of sound, which I don't mind, because that tells me where my engine's at. And the sound is not necessarily bad. It just lets you know that some things misaligned maybe a little bit. At any rate, this unit seems to be in real good shape. I'm going to register the position of these trucks because they seem to work really good. And then I don't like these types of side frames, so I'm putting the AAR ones instead. But it looks pretty clean, to be honest. That looks pretty clean. So that's gonna go in the parts bin. And then I'll clean the wheels and reassemble them. So I put these under my tap and I wash them with some dish soap and my toothbrush just to be sure. And then while I have the wheels in my hand, I'm gonna check the gauge. See, this one seems to be just a little bit tight. The engine would run okay, but since I want it perfect, That's what I'm going for. I'm gonna be on this till it's 100% where I'm happy. What I end up doing is I'll have the side with the gear right up on the wheel, and then the side with no gear, I'll give it the slack. This one gets all the slack. I am almost where I'm happy. Yeah, that's perfect. And I'll also clean it with my rag before I put it back in. This engine, probably other than it was missing the front truck, probably would have been a really good runner. This was a very good purchase for me because I actually like working on my stuff. It makes me feel good. Sometimes I get brand new engines, but if I have a chance, I much prefer working a little bit on them. Makes them mine. Now I'm ready to put everything back together. And then the two contact strips. There's two pins where they go here, and make sure that the ends of the axles are inside them. You can roll them like that just to make sure that everything's lined up properly. That looks real good. And then my new side frames. So yeah, this is going to be painted like a U33B, which looks very similar. And then test it with your finger. Make sure that you're happy with everything. Perfect. Alright, so I'm going to open it up now so we can have a look inside. You just need to push on these little tabs and a little bit on the ends here. Just pry in there just a little bit. So this is a DCC compatible frame, obviously. I don't need to do too much changes on it for now. The motor seems to turn fine. I'm not going to put any lubrication in it, but on the worm gears I like to put just a tiny drop. That's all you need. Just to say that I came in and I did something. Now I'm going to put everything back together. When you do that, you always check your two contacts for the motor are set up properly. So I'll just line everything up. And you can check it with your finger, make sure nothing's touching. That feels pretty good. Oh, and the contact strips, if you want to clean them, I just clean them with my finger like that. Usually that's enough. If you need something stronger, you can use something like a Staedtler eraser. I just painted my fuel tank flat black, so I'm letting it dry. I'm hoping this thing will run on the track like that. It should, but if you have your gas tank available, it's good to use it. And these don't need to be very tight, these screws, just hand tight is fine. and then I'll check it on the bench, and then we'll go check it on the track. Looks awesome. Testing on the bench allows you to check if there's something wrong. You're right there, you can get right back on it. So that seems to be going fine. Testing on the bench allows you to see if there's something wrong. You can see right away. And then you can correct it. All your tools are just there. That looks pretty good. So I'm going to go try it on the track. It's still a little bit noisy, but it's going to be acceptable. This is the sound decoder I'm using, Excel Systems. If you want the website, it's right here, excelsystems.dcc.com, and comes with instructions, comes with installation instructions. I think with a GP38 or a GP40, this is intended for a GP38. I'm using it on, I got a lot of U25B or B23-7s. So here's all the instructions. You have to do a little bit of milling of the frame. It's not horrible, but it sure helps. So they come wrapped up in cardboard like that. Careful not to cut your thumb when you're doing it. This is a direct replacement for your normal DCC board. So I'm going to disassemble this again, and I'll be getting ready. If I need to mill the frame, I'll be ready to do that. So milling the frame, you can do it with your Dremel. That's really up to you. I have an angle grinder, and I like to do that because it makes a short work of everything. So basically, all things being equal, you could just bring your decoder and have it sit in there. But as you can see, to make room for the microphone, I have to remove a small area. I've got my Sharpie close by so I can make my shape that I need to remove right away. So that's it. This is what I need to remove. Just this little hump here. It will help me clear what I need to do. And this area here I don't need to have. And I think that's going to be it. Plenty of room for my speaker. I should go all the way to the end. Now with the Dremel or with the grinder, it's going to create a lot of shrapnel. So you have to basically take everything out. And then once you're done grinding, you can wash the two frames. And then you can just reassemble everything. So here's what I do. I attack most of it with the angle grinder, and I come in with my Dremel and my cutoff wheel to do a nice finish. And then I wash everything. And then for the other side, I got into some trouble. Now if this ever happens to you, don't panic. You can glue this back together with some crazy glue, and you can get away with a little bit with something like that. So I'm going to take my time, I'm going to glue it back together, and I think I can run like this with no problem. Okay, so that's that. It's just like new. Now I'm going to bring in my motor. Oh, before I do that, before I bring in the motor, I want to go back to my instructions for my DCC, and don't forget you need to put some kept-on tape on part of the frame. So I'm going to do just that right now. The reason for the kept-on tape is you do not want these pins to contact the frame. If these pins should contact the frame, what happens is the motor will get the full power of the DCC. So it will sound, it will make like a beep sound. You don't want that. That would be bad. So the motor is not designed to take the full power from the DCC. Basically, the DCC gives full power to the motor all the time. The controller is able to decide how much power to give to the motor. That's basically its job, along with, you know, giving you fun stuff like sound, etc. You have to get these little pins in their place. That takes a little patience, but that's what we do. Oh, there's my problem. My screws got magnetized to the motor. Now I get it. Powerful force magnets. Okay, take two. It's a lot easier with the screws out of the way. So just have to line up these little blocks. These little blocks, they help for their bearings, but they also help for sound reduction. Some people take them out. I've seen some videos on that. I like to keep them in place. I figure they're there for a reason. That looks real good. I'm just going to make sure everything's lined up properly. And then I'm going to bring in my DCC chip with the microphone. And then you'll see now I have room for it. Room for the speaker anyways. So that is worth taking your time to get it just right. And these wires will be out of the way. And then I can bring the second half of the frame. Make sure everything's lined up properly. Also make sure your two pins for the motor are touching the two pins from for the decoder. That is super important. And then that can go in there. I have plenty of room for all these wires and the decoder as well. I actually have one of my wires that's stuck between the two frame halves. I don't want that, so I'm going to manage it off camera. Now I just started my screws. I'm gonna put my 2 trucks back on. Now's the time to check that your contact strips are in the right spot. Looks real good. And this one too. Just double check everything, make sure you're happy. That's actually very nice. And now I can tighten my 2 screws. They don't have to be super tight, just hand tight. And I can also bring in my fuel tank that got painted. You know, the filler caps, they go towards the front. There. That looks really good. Let's go try it on the track. I'm not sure if you guys like to see me do some programming. Anyway, let's try this. Select local and then 3, and then let's see what happens. So that was easy. Let's check a couple of functions. How about headlights, bell, horn, then forward, and then change direction. So that's pretty neat. There's a list of all the CVs you can program. I'm going to fool around with a couple of them. I'm going to start by programming the locomotive address. So it hasn't been painted yet, but I'm going to paint it cab number 2902. So program on the main is good. Program local 003, perfect. We'll start with the address. So long address 2902, and then enter. So that's right, and then we'll go program again. Program on the main is good. 2902 is good. And then 2 CV. And then number. Let's see, which number do I want? I want diesel prime mover CV123. That's the one I want. Actually, I'm going to show you something. This is the instruction sheet from an MRC decoder. I kept it. Excel Systems used to make the decoders for MRC. So there you go. You have the chart for CV123, all the chart and which engine they were. So I'm gonna go for an Alco. Probably number 3 will sound good to me. So let's just program that. So CV number 123. Enter. Programming on the main will show you the value it had before. So I want number 3. and then enter. See, now it sounds like an Alco or a GE. I'm also going to fool around with the speed tables. My other unit, 2907, it had a little bit better speed tables. It would not cut quicker. So that's shaping up nice. Well, that took a little time, but I got it to where I'm happy. So as I increase my speed steps, it starts right away at the first nut shop, and then the second notch, I'm on my way. Which is exactly what I wanted. And then to shut down the engine, you hit 8 3 times. And there's a nice shutdown sequence. To restart the engine, you can hit 8 again, or pretty much any function like a headlight. So I'll show you on my speed table what I did. I put CV5, I started with CV5, 255, and then CV6, I gave it half of that, so 126, and then CV2, I kept increasing it, because it was starting to where I'm happy. Now that mechanically everything's where I want it to be, I can worry about the shell now. I'm getting ready to do decals now. I've got them set up in different piles. I'm keeping all the little tiny ones for the end. Don't ask me why, I find that very fun to do, those little tiny decals at the end. My shell turned out great. Very shiny. Of course, that's something you could do for your railroad. You know, freshly shopped. Keep a picture of the real engine close by. I like to go on railroadpicturesarchives.net. They try to get every engine. Of course, that's impossible to do, but they sure try. So keep a picture of the engine close by so you can do an exact decal placement. My paint's a little bit tacky still. It's kind of good because it will help the decal to blend in with the paint. I don't always use a micro saw, but today, yes. Today I'm going to be using micro saw. These tiny little decals here, you can barely read them, but I enjoy putting them on. Well, alright then, if you're a beginner, then that's it, you're done. Freshly shopped unit. Me, I'm gonna go one more step, and I'm gonna put some dull coat on it. I bought some new Testors dull coat. The Mod Podge was okay, but I wasn't happy with it. So alright, let's get to work. With the dull coat, it looks very professional. I was especially concerned about the little F. I wasn't sure we're gonna see it, but it turned out really well. So now I've got to put back all my glass and all the handrails. I'm gonna keep the black couplers for another engine, but I'm gonna put these really cool brown ones. Now these, you have to assemble them. They have the little springs, so that takes a little bit of work, but it's gonna be worth it in the end. So with all the couplers and the handrails put on, I could put my shell on my drive. So this project is coming together. This should go nice and easy, but I still want to take my time. Make sure that everything's lined up properly. These are very nice models, worth taking your time. Perfect. And now it's time to run some trains. Well, I hope you enjoyed the video. I certainly had fun making it for you. See you soon.